Welcome, everyone, and thank you for tuning in to Swoon-Worthy, a podcast for period drama lovers. We started this podcast last year and released 3 seasons, covering everything from Sofia Coppola's Marie Antoinette to Titanic, from Jane Austen to The Mummy, and of course, we had to cover season 3 of Bridgerton. We're back and we're beyond excited to kick off season 4. My name is Carly, and I'm joined today by my sister Kayla and our friend Anna, who you may remember from our Jane Eyre episode last season. Thank you so much for coming back on the show, Anna.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, and when I think about the most epic period dramas that come from classic literature, I, of course, think of the Bronte sisters, Jane Austen, and Tolstoy. And it's Tolstoy's Anna Karenina that we are going to discuss today. We're going to focus heavily on the 2012 adaptation starring period drama queen Keira Knightley, but I wanted to ask you two if you've seen any other versions.
I have not.
Unfortunately, yeah, I have not either.
Okay. I've always loved the two classic versions. There's one starring Greta Garbo and one starring Vivian Lee.
Hmm.
Yeah. So I'd like to talk about some of that. And then I've recently watched a couple other versions. And when we did Jane Eyre, we talked about like 6 different adaptations. It was crazy. And I thought that's probably the most of any other period drama. But guys, Anna Karenina has like a bajillion versions out there.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I think it's because it's like kind of international, an international favorite book. So there's like Italian versions, Russian versions, you name it.
I'd like to see a Russian version.
Yeah, because it was, originally written in Russian,
Hmm.
and then of course translated to so many different languages. It's really some people think of Tolstoy as the best novelist. I think I read that even Virginia Woolf said Tolstoy was the greatest novelist out there. Of course, he did War and Peace. That one was written in 1869, and then Anna Karenina, 1878. Have you read the books, Anna or Anna Karenina?
I have, yes, and I recently just tried to go over it again to see what I thought about it because the first time I read it, for some reason, it just didn't click with me.
Hmm.
Second time, the book was much better.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah. Sometimes, when you read, it just depends on the mood you're in or like the age
Mhm.
you're at when you read it, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what I think is so great about the novel is it's not just about the romance in the book, right? I mean, it's obviously a huge plot point. The character is Anna Karenina. That's who it's named after. I feel like there's so many different elements to this story. There's kind of your religion, politics, spiritual aspect, love of mankind, not just romantic love. Do you agree, Anna?
I think it definitely touches a lot on like your passion versus your morals. And it's really important in the book. A big theme is about how to mix them together, but also not to go to an extreme, which
Mm,
unfortunately that's kind of where Anna kind of goes. It's a little bit more, extreme. And once we get more into it, Levin's character is the perfect example of having that structure of passion and kind of keeping up with his morals. So yeah, no, it touches on a lot of those for sure.
that's exactly right. I love how you explain that. And like Levin, gotta love Levin. I mean, he's honestly one of my
Yeah.
favorite characters.
Yeah, he's like the best one.
Hmm. Yeah. He's on that spiritual journey, that search for the meaning of life, and he's relatable even though I don't always relate to like a male figure in a story, but
Mhm.
I think he is for sure.
Oh yeah.
So, from my perspective of not reading the book, I mean, I forgot about that guy, like the character.
Right, because in a lot of the movie and TV show adaptations, he's a smaller figure where it's like really focused on the romance. But okay, good point, Kayla. Do you like the story of Anna Karenina?
That's a lot of pressure. I mean, I
Like it's
I think
like
it's a very it's cool to see a Russian love story because you don't get many of those. You get Anastasia, but that's just sad. I mean, this is sad too, but in almost a good way, like
It's
because
like
romance is
moving.
involved.
Yeah, yeah.
I think the hardest part is that when Kayla and I were watching it, we were like, yeah, we can't relate to Anna. It seems like that's like an extrovert's problem.
Yeah.
Because like the issues that, came up and the way she made them worse, we're just like, yeah,
Yeah.
we can't relate.
Like
Like it was so
she
hard.
loved the attention, even though
Yeah.
it's just like she was her own enemy, you know?
Oh,
Yeah.
no, that's so true. Because, like, some of her problems towards the end of the story is she can't go out in public
Hmm.
without causing a
Yeah.
scandal. And you guys would probably be like, I'm fine at home reading a book.
We would stay home.
With
Yeah.
Jude Law, like he was such a good husband, right, Anna? We thought that.
I mean, he was very forgiving, very generous. I mean, after everything she put him through, he still took care of her daughter. Like,
Okay.
no,
No, you're right. You're
it was
right.
a lot. Like,
It's a lot. Okay, so let's start out talking about the version that we're referencing here. Keira Knightley in the titular role, Anna Karenina, and we have Jude Law playing Karenin, her husband, Alexei Karenin. We have Aaron Taylor Johnson as Alexei Vronsky. Yes,
I
both
know.
men have the same first names. Really good. Um, and then we have a lot of other characters, other actors in the smaller roles, which we'll talk about. Now, this movie, guys, was directed by Joe Wright, same as Pride and Prejudice, 2005. So we get that team back again. We have Keira Knightley, the director Joe Wright, and the costume designer Jacqueline Duran. So, oh, and the music by Dario Marianelli. So it's like,
Well, and the guy who played Darcy, did you say that?
oh, you're right. How could I not?
Yeah, Matthew
Yeah.
McFadyen.
Yeah. So it's almost like it's a recipe for like a great period drama because you have all of these elements and these people who made such a fantastic movie in 2005 coming to 2012. And in between this we had Atonement in 2007. But just general thoughts about the movie, like what would you
Yeah.
rate it?
Well, what you just said made me think because it almost feels like the director or whoever was the spearhead of this movie, it's like
Hmm.
they rested on on their laurels about how they're like, how could it be bad with all this, you know? But it's like, to me, it was like it was missing something or it was a little too overdone in a way.
Overdone. I'm gonna go with that one, Kayla. What do you
To
think,
be
Anna?
to be fair, I think it was James McAvoy who was going to be Levin. They were originally
Interesting.
Saoirse Ronan, Kitty, and Benedict Cumberbatch as Oblonsky.
So it would have been like
So
Atonement combined with
yeah, I mean
with
they've all worked together already,
That's so
but yes, it
funny.
was. But they all turned down the roles.
Fascinating.
Also, Robert Pattinson was. They wanted him to be Vronsky. So
Actually, that
yeah,
would have been kind of cool
yeah.
because he is a younger. So Vronsky, as a character, is younger than
Hmm.
Anna. So Anna, people are thinking Anna's 27 years old to Vronsky's 22, and that's
Which
because
Aaron Taylor Johnson was that age, yeah.
he was okay. He was that age, and
Mhm.
what's funny, I mean, it kind of parallels real life because we know he married an older woman, right?
A little way too older than Anna Karenina, but yeah.
That's true. That is true. And Karenin's character, her husband, Anna's, husband at the beginning is 44 at the
Hmm.
beginning of the story. So, and 46 at the end. So that kind of gives you a little bit of an age thing. Um, at one point, it said that Anna married a man almost 20 years older. So this takes place in mid 1870s Russia. Okay, so think Victorian, think almost like American Civil War a little after that. Think Victorian era. I always like to think of it because when you have movies or period dramas set in different countries, sometimes it helps for me to think of like what's happening in the UK at the time in Great Britain. So like Queen Victoria was on the throne. All right, and we get started here. It says with the book, and a lot of the versions start out with the quote, "Happy families are all alike, Every unhappy family is unhappy in its own way. Everything was in confusion in Oblonsky's house. So the story starts out, and you have Steva or Stepan Oblonsky. So this is Matthew Macfadyen's character playing Anna's brother, and he has basically been cheating on his wife with the governess, and everything's a mess. And we see in this version from the beginning, this is not just, you're not just seeing like a period drama set in like a house or whatever. It opens up, this is going to be set in a theater, like the whole movie. And I think that's where the overdone, the maybe chaotic, the different element
Hmm.
comes in.
Yeah.
It's like it feels overdone, but it's actually underdone because it's like, is this a bottle movie? Like,
Right,
is this
right.
a budget cut?
Well, and I remember when that scene was going on, I looked at Kayla. I was like, "Did you even get what was going on?" She's like, "No." I was like, "Well, his wife just found out that he's cheating because
Yeah.
you are watching the movie and you don't know what's going on. Everything's
Yeah.
so chaotic. I mean,
Yeah.
there's no sh it feels like there's no structure." I was like, "Yeah, this is not, I don't know."
Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't even catch that they both slipped out at the same time. I
Yeah.
was like, are they even in the same building? Like,
It's
I
so
don't
interesting.
know.
It's almost like it's made for people who've read the book or like really know the
Yes.
story, because
Yes.
otherwise you're going to be lost. You're like,
Yes.
is this a play? Like, what's going on?
Hmm.
And I love so some of the older versions, the Greta Garbo, the Vivian Lee, and some of the other versions I've seen. It starts out same way with the cheating of Anna's brother on the wife Dolly, but it's just you just see him being, being flirty with the governess, and you see the wife reacting appropriately to that situation, saying like she's gonna leave him. And then there's like kids running around. Like it just makes so much more like why didn't they? Why? Why?
Hmm.
I
I
don't know.
know. I know.
And then we have Anna, our main character, who is going to get on a train and go to her brother's house and try to calm the waters here, try to make Dolly forgive her brother who's being a little whatever, and take, have the wife take him back, even though he was cheating. And what do you think about this? I mean, Anna, what would you do that? Would you be in the role of Anna and try to mend this family?
Like, it's just kind of funny after watching the movie, like the fact that she thought she could do that when she needs help so much.
She's very convincing with Dolly, though. She's like, I, I mean, you both love each other, but you can't forgive him. So you just need to forgive him, and then everything's gonna be okay. Like she's very persuasive, Anna.
I remember looking at Kayla during the scene. I was like, oh, that's just not right. Like, there's a part where Dolly says, but I didn't do anything, because
Yeah.
the way Anna was kind of like, not attacking her, but kind of putting all of this on her, like, blame all this on her. Like, your family's gonna fall apart if you don't forgive him. Like, I was like, oh, that's just gross.
It is. It is. It's a little now looking back at it, and I love that actress, Kelly Macdonald.
Yes.
She's Scottish, and she's in so many period dramas. Like even the first Elizabeth movie with Kate Blanchett, she was one of the ladies in waiting there. Um, and I mean, having 7 kids, that's a lot, so I don't even
Yeah.
want to think about that. But anyways, she she smooths things out, and then you get kind of introduced to some more characters here in the meantime. So Dolly's little sister is Kitty, and we're using all of their fun nicknames. They have these great, pretty Russian names, but Princess Kitty, Princess Ekaterina, da 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 da. Played by Alicia Vikander, who is one of my favorites. What do you think?
Yeah.
Yeah, I loved her in this.
And I think this was kind of her one of her breakout roles because like she had been in film before she did the Danish movie earlier that year, like A Royal Affair. But like I think that people were like, wow, we need to look out for this actress after this role.
See her more? Yeah, no, she was
Yeah.
great. She was great.
Perfect. And her and Levin, so Domhnall Gleeson, I believe is his name.
Hmm.
He's been in a few things. He was in a movie with Saoirse Ronan, actually.
Yes.
Brooklyn. I don't know if you saw Brooklyn.
Yes. I
That's so
love that
good.
movie.
Yeah. Oh, we might have to cover that one. And then he's in like was in the Star Wars reboot, but
And Harry
the
Potter as well.
there you go. I didn't realize that. But like the two of them, I love their storyline. Of course, at first, it's so sad for Levin
I
because
know.
but he ran away. So if he had stayed put, he might have gotten Kitty a little quicker, but he kind of runs away. He's a little scared. And then by the time he gets back to court Kitty and propose, Vronsky's in the picture.
Yeah, I mean, in the book at least, I think it touches on that Levin and Kitty have known each other
Hmm.
since childhood. So, I mean, yeah, he does run away, but if you were Levin and you saw Vronsky, I think you'd feel like, okay, there's no chance. And
I
especially if
know.
Kitty solidifies that opinion, like, oh,
Hmm.
don't propose to me. I have, thoughts for someone else or whatever. Yeah, I definitely would be like, okay, I lost this one.
Yeah, because the first time we see Vronsky in this version, they kind of just like bump shoulders.
Hmm.
And Steva, Matthew Macfadyen's character had already kind of given him a heads up, like there's this young, handsome cavalry officer
Yeah.
who's who's been in the picture. So they kind of exchange looks, and you can tell how kind of arrogant and or confident, however you want to say it,
Yes.
Vronsky is.
Yeah. And I
Yeah.
do I do love how in the book it shows like her parents fighting over
Mm-hmm.
this,
Mm-hmm.
decision. The mom wants Vronsky, the dad wants Levin for Kitty because he
Mm-hmm.
thinks Levin's the more reasonable one. She'll have a happier, longer marriage with, Levin, and Vronsky's just like a peacock. That's what I think he like calls him because
Ooh.
he's just strutting around, which yeah, it's true.
That's so funny. So, okay, on just back to the actors for a second. Aaron Taylor Johnson. Are you, do you like him? It sounds like you like him, Anna.
I do. I just saw him recently in Nosferatu.
Yeah.
Um, I told Kayla, I was like, his acting is weird though. Like you forget he's actually British. It sounds like his like accent's forced. It's
Yeah.
weird.
I don't know.
But yeah.
I know. I wonder if I feel like the character Vronsky, it's not someone I mean, he's not Mr. Darcy. He's not Mr.
No,
Rochester to me. Like, I don't love Vronsky.
no. And I think that's what's really interesting about the story and this book is that there isn't anyone that you're like in love with, like, those movies. I
Hmm.
really don't see this as a romance book. I
Yeah.
see it more of like a cautionary tale
Yeah,
almost.
I agree because I like to really relate and feel for characters in my movies that I watch, and it's like you said, Anna, I just couldn't pinpoint anyone to really like be rooting for, except for the
Hmm.
husband, but he was also kind of sad at the same time, you know.
Yeah.
All right, Kayla's team Karenin, team Jude Law here.
Maybe. Hmm.
And I watched this mini series from 1977 and I really liked it.
Oh, I'll
And
have to
it's
give that a try.
yeah, because I know you liked the Jane Eyre with
Yes.
the 1980 whatever
Hmm.
with what was his name?
Timothy Dalton.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
So this one, it really, I think, is a great adaptation from the book. It's like across 10 episodes. It's BBC, 1977, well rated. The actress, Nicola Paget, she actually looks kind of like Vivian Lee. So she's very beautiful, like Vivian Lee. And the Vronsky in that one. Okay, guys, the Mask of Zorro with Antonio Banderas?
Yes.
Okay, so the man who's acting like uh what's her name? Catherine Zeta-Jones's father, like not her real father, but the guy who's like Don Raphael.
Oh,
Like,
yeah. Yeah.
it was him when he was younger.
Oh, wow.
I was like,
Okay.
yeah, so random. Stuart Wilson, probably the best Vronsky I've seen so far.
Really?
Once you get past the haircut, because it's kind of it's kind of like parted in the middle and like kind of stuck to the sides, kind of in a not as attractive way, and he's got the mustache. But his acting and like I almost liked Vronsky more than ever in
I
his.
don't think Kayla would be able to get through that one. She couldn't get through the nostrils of the Jane Eyre one.
But let me see a picture.
So look up Stuart Wilson, Anna Karenina.
Stuart.
Stuart Wilson. I'm gonna see if we're yeah.
Oh, oh.
Okay, maybe. No, Kayla's like no. No. Honestly, at first I was like, I don't know if I can do
It's
this.
the little
Curlies.
tendrils at the end of the mustache for me. Like, I don't like that.
But his acting, like he's a good Vronsky. Let me just tell you that.
Yeah, no, he looks good. I'm gonna have to
Okay.
try that.
And I mean, he was even as an older man, he wasn't bad
He wasn't
looking
bad looking.
in
Yeah.
Zorro. All right. So definitely recommend that version. But let's get back to our 2012 Kira version. We haven't really talked too much about Kira. So the train scenes in Anna Karenina are so pivotal. Like these are like the big moments here, so iconic. And Vronsky has already seen Anna. They had a little meet cute, if you will, in the train because she was traveling with his mother, essentially. And they pass each other. I almost wish they like looked at each other a little longer. It was such a quick little that
Hmm.
you're supposed to, like in the book, like you're supposed to get this like the earth move, like they saw it when they saw each other, right? What do you think, Anna?
Yeah, I didn't get that at all.
Didn't get that at all.
Yeah, I agree with that. Everything in this movie was just too quick. They just
Rushed.
rushed through it. You didn't feel the connection between them two. You didn't feel the connection. I mean, again, I think the only ones I felt that connection was Kitty and Levin,
Yeah.
but and even barely, but for sure, Anna and Vronsky, I didn't see that.
Yeah, no, there's just no time to really get why they're falling in love. Okay, so Kitty's going to this ball. She's expecting Count Vronsky to propose. And instead, he's infatuated with Anna. Oh, also in all the movie versions, Kitty is wearing white or light pink, and she looks like this like debutante kind of thinking like she's coming out into society. And Anna's always wearing black, right? I think that's so interesting.
I guess Anna isn't, she's not happy. I mean, she
Ooh,
married young. She is married to an older man. And it goes back to just like, do you either fall in love with passion or do you fall in love with the like security and all that? And she chose the second part. So she even mentions at these balls like, "Oh, I remember when I was that young," and she's still young and she's
yeah,
talking about her like past like it was, a long, long time ago. So
yeah.
I think for her, it's just kind of like she's kind of like a downer at all these things.
That's a good point. Yeah, and she might feel too, just like I'm the matronly married woman, so
Yeah.
I'm gonna wear black and maybe not take the attention from the young things. But man, she really got the attention of Vronsky, and he's just like all eyes on her. He so rudely ignores Kitty.
Oh my God, yes.
So
Just
rude.
drops her.
Just like, wow. Do you like the dance scene? I actually do like the dance scene. It's interesting in
Yeah,
this.
I agree. I think that's where the quirkiness like did fit. Everything else was a little too much, like in other scenes. But
Mhm.
yeah, no, I think it really did capture that like Russian style of like dancing.
Ooh, yeah. And like the music, I do
Hmm.
love the music of this movie.
Mhm.
It's like Dario Marianelli does it again. He did it for Jane Eyre 2011, and and of course Pride and Prejudice. Like, so I do like the dance scene, and she looks. I love Anna's dress. It's
Yeah.
so pretty. The bustle. She's wearing Chanel jewelry through all this. That like peacock feather looking kind of
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah, I think
It's.
the music and the costumes were like the star of this movie for sure.
I'm glad you said that, Kayla, because this movie was nominated for 4 Oscars. And you're exactly right. So, costume design, and it actually won that award. Jacqueline Duran did. Music score by Dario Marianelli, who took home the Oscar in 2008 for Atonement. And then the movie was also nominated for cinematography and production design. Even though we kind of don't love the whole rush theater vibe that, whatever Joe Wright was trying to do, you have to admit that the set pieces themselves are stunning.
What
Yeah.
was his reasoning again to have it all be on a theater? I think Anna read it, but I can't remember.
Yeah, it said something about how, society, that society, like the rich and all of that, they were always on display. So he wanted to use the theater to emphasize that. That's why you see the only person who is out of the theater stage is
Hmm.
Levin. So he wanted to like focus more on the fact that he's the most authentic character. So you see him more that he's like outside. He's not always like on the theater stage. So
Okay.
yeah, that
Is
was
the
his.
book, does the book focus a lot on Levin or is it more about Anna?
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, the books have, yeah, it focuses a lot on Levin as well.
Oh,
Yeah. Yeah. Those parts are always really, really good to read. And his just like trying to figure out what he believes in, why he
Hmm.
believes it, what his purpose for living is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you'd like that part of the book, Kayla. And exactly what you said, Anna, like I always think of what is it, the Shakespeare quote, like all the world's a stage and all the men and
Hmm.
women are merely players. So I get that. I think Joe Wright it was a good idea. It was a deep, deep concept. Execution wise, it's just not as enjoyable, maybe,
I just think it
unfortunately.
wasn't very necessary because I feel like that doesn't really matter too much to the
It
story.
doesn't add anything to it.
It
Yeah.
doesn't add
Hmm.
anything. It just, I,
I
I
think,
seriously think there was like budget cuts.
yeah.
That's what you start to think of because then whenever you get to go out of the stage setting and it's the beautiful like nature scenes, it's like it's such a breath of
Well, yeah,
fresh
and see,
air.
I've mentioned this before on the show is that that gives that for movies, like that's what really makes a good movie to me is where I feel like I'm swept away by that atmosphere. Like if it's a scary movie and it's in this big spooky forest, like it draws me in. If it's a romance and I see all these romantic feels like in Pride and Prejudice, like it draws me in. You know what I mean?
Hmm. Yeah.
100%. Every time it's like I like breathe relief when I like see an actual outdoor setting in this movie and enjoy it. So
Yeah, it's just
I
the
think
pacing. It's
It's
just,
like
yeah.
claustrophobic.
Yeah.
okay, so we're all on the same page. So another version I watched, 2013 miniseries, and I loved because all of the grand houses that they're going in and out of are so beautiful. That's the other thing that's missing from this. Like I want to see a huge staircase.
Hmm.
I want to see someone coming down the stairs in the ball gown. Um, and in and out of the front door and outside in the carriages. So this 2013 miniseries, it was filmed in Lithuania and like they had actual ice skating scenes, snow
Oh, wow.
scenes, beautiful houses that they filmed in. And I really liked the 2013 version. It had an Italian actress as Anna, who is gorgeous, and Santiago Cabrera as Vronsky, who is awesome. If you've seen the Merlin TV series, he plays Lancelot. And in the Musketeers series from 2014, he's Aramis. So that was also a Vronsky I could get behind. But okay, back to the storyline. I love how we're all like on the same page. So then Kitty is just totally ignored. It's very sad. Vronsky follows Anna back onto the train. And this is another epic train scene where she's trying to go home. She's trying to run away because she kind of feels she feels this connection between Vronsky, right? Feels bad about Kitty. And she steps out at one of the stops to get a breath of fresh air. It's snowing, and Vronsky's just there. He's like, "Can I be of service to you? I have to be where you are. Wherever you are, I have to be there." What do you think about this scene?
It's a lot. I don't know. In real life, I'd be like, please go away. Like, just stop. 'Cause she initially does try to, like,
Yeah.
go away. Like, she's like, no, you need to go back to Kitty. I'm a mother. I have, kids,
Yeah.
all of that. And she does try, and he just is so, like, I'm going to get you.
A little predatory.
A little bit, yeah.
I know. And I mean, it's clear they have a connection, and you get that from the book, and they're just kind of swept away with each other, which I think I read that's like one of the symbols of the train. It's like you get carried away to another place. So she's kind of
Mm.
being carried away by this love for Vronsky. And you're right, she does try to just kind of ignore him at the first. And she goes back to her husband. Okay, Jude Law, Kayla. Jude Law playing her husband. He is um part of the government. I can't really remember exactly, but he holds like holds office, and he is revered by many people. He's known for just making, I don't know. What do you know, Anna, what he is? I'm just kind of
I know he's just like part of their like Congress type thing because he does
yeah.
talk about passing bills and all of that, and he is highly regarded. I mean,
Hmm.
everyone loves him. So, yeah.
Yeah. But he's just by the books. He doesn't have any passion or emotion in most of these versions. And in this version, he's very like, okay, oh, being a dutiful husband. I'm coming to pick you up at the train station. Let's go home. And and Anne is the opposite. She's very emotionally driven. So she's like, how's my son? And he's like, oh, what about me? It's just this dynamic between them. They just don't click.
Yeah. I mean, it goes back to the age thing and just what's important to them. I will say Jude Law did give him a little bit of a softness because
Hmm.
in this movie, even in the beginning, like the way he would confront her is very like, I don't want to question you because I don't want to offend you type thing. Like it's like people are questioning, I'm not. Like the way he approaches her is very soft. And
Okay.
I think that's where Kayla and I were like, oh, we love,
Yeah, he was
you know,
very patient
Karen, yeah.
and understanding, even
Mhm.
though he probably shouldn't have been.
Okay. And I mean, he is Jude Law.
Yeah.
Who doesn't love Jude
I
Law?
think that's what helps too.
Even with his maybe, hairline being a little receding, in the beard, they try to make him look a little more austere, maybe, but he's still Jude Law. And the way
Yeah.
he talks,
Oh
his
yeah.
voice is just so like swoon.
Kayla, do you remember when we were watching the movie? We were so confused at what he was taking out from that box.
Oh,
She screams like, no, we can't. I'm married, like he's my husband, Vronsky.
Oh
They were
yeah,
in the
like
bed.
what is that
you know
about?
what that is, right?
No.
That's like
It's
an
a yeah, it's an old condom. It's like it's a
old-fashioned
condom.
condom,
Yeah.
Oh.
like cloth.
We were so
Well,
confused by that. We're like, wait, what is he doing? And I finally found out what it was.
I mean, that could have been left out of the movie, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh
Okay.
yeah.
So, yeah. Hmm.
Because it's like, what is that? We don't know what that
Well,
either.
she's pretty
You need
much
to explain
essentially
it.
saying, I'm not your wife anymore, so I can't do this with you anymore. So it kind of makes sense, like
I
why
get
they
it.
did that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because rather than him like jumping on her, like that would have been weird. So instead it
Yeah.
was like that by him getting that out awkwardly and like I was
Yeah.
like,
I think they could have done it a different way, like kissed each other, and she just been like, "No, I don't want to do that."
okay.
Again, the audacity of Anna, though. She's like in their bed and she's like, no, I'm married to Vronsky, my whatever husband. I'm like, what?
That's so funny, Anna, because when you said the audacity of Anna, I was like, you're talking about yourself?
No.
We have an Anna talking about
Yeah.
Anna. Okay, and so after the train station scene, whoa, oh, hold on, whoa, whoa. Train station scene, the railway worker
Hmm.
dies in a horrible accident, and this is a meaningful little moment here, especially when you're reading the book, because this is kind of interpreted as like a bad omen, right? And maybe foreshadowing of a future train accident.
Hmm.
I mean, we got that from the movie,
Okay, good, good.
so there's something.
And I always have, seen these movie versions, read the book, and there's always the clanging. And in the Greta Garbo and the Vivian Lee movie versions, it's such a great, I don't know, it's just so good. The clanging in it intensifies at the end of the railway worker just tapping on the wheels. And then I was like, okay, I need to stop wondering and just look this up. Like, what is he doing? Like tapping those wheels? Like, what does that even do? So it's a wheel tapper. That is the job. And they're testing the integrity of the wheel. And apparently, if it sounded different, they would know that something
Mm.
was wrong with that wheel. Because I was like, he's not even looking at it. He's just tapping along.
You're
Finally
like,
looked
who
it up.
are these people?
Yeah, I was like, this is an easy job. No. Anyways, it seems very specialist. But anyways, so this poor wheel tapper, and like he they say like, oh, he had a wife and kids. It's so sad. And Vronsky's like, ooh, I'm gonna go impress Anna and give this family some money. He's
Hmm.
just after this moment, he's just very one track mind. I need this woman and I need to whatever. And I think it's like a year passes in the book, almost a year of him trying to court her and win her over. And then, of course, in this rushed version of this movie, you don't get that.
No, it seems like it just everything happens in a week. Like we're
Yeah.
just like, oh my God.
Oh my gosh. And um we get introduced to a bunch of different characters. We have Holiday Granger for like a hot second as the Baroness. The scene makes no sense at all. The I don't know if you remember that. The girl in the blue and she's like with the tea kettle and she's like talking about the porcelain. Do you remember the scene?
Mm,
It's just
mm-mm.
it's unnecessary. It
Yeah,
never played and that 2 minutes of screen time could have been saved for something with the plot anyways.
yeah.
And then we see Ruth Wilson and Michelle Dockery from Downton Abbey and Emerald Fennell, those other three ladies in the ball gowns at Betsy's, one of them's
Hmm.
Princess Betsy. I do love the costuming in this scene.
Yeah.
And I do love these actresses. So, I mean, everyone knows Downton Abbey, right? Like Michelle Dockery in that lavender gown. I that's my favorite.
Yeah.
I love it. But again, these little exchanges with these characters, we get that like everyone's like gossipy and social climby and whatever. But I feel like the scene could have been done better too. I don't know if you
I
agree.
agree. Again, like it doesn't really show that side of it until you get into like the really heavy parts with Anna and Vronsky. But yeah, you're supposed to see that everyone's like whispering and all that. Yeah.
And I like how Michelle Dockery's character kind of sticks up for them, tries to help them a little bit. Okay, gonna play this idea out here. What if Michelle Dockery had been cast as Anna Karenina? Could you see it? Because I kind of can see it. Instead of Kira? Lady Mary Downton? No?
I can see that. I feel like Kira though has that I guess like aura, where it's like everyone has to look at her or
Yeah,
whatever.
that's true.
So, yeah.
Yeah, she's so beautiful. She really is,
Yeah.
Kira. Okay, fair enough. Could you see it cast, anyone else cast in these roles?
Well, yeah, I think they should try again.
Yeah,
I
I
think they
think
should
they should, and they will.
should try better.
Should we try Margot Robbie and Jacob Elordi? Actually, that would fit more them
Oh yeah, it would.
as this instead of Wuthering Heights. That would actually make more
Yeah.
sense than
Yeah, no,
where
you're
they're
right.
going.
No, you're actually right. I mean, Jacob Elordi as Vronsky, I could see it.
Oh yeah.
Well, in the book, what does it describe Anna Karenina as looking like?
I think she's a
I don't,
brunette.
yeah, they don't like really describe her like with detail. They just kind of describe like how everyone's attracted to her. Everyone just has to look at her like she is that, kind of
Mm,
like she's
Yeah,
captivating.
yeah, yeah.
yeah.
I feel like she has gray eyes
Yeah.
mentioned. So Betsy's party, and we do have Kira in this burgundy, deep red, crimson gown. This is my favorite of that Anna wears, I think, the
Yeah.
red.
That is the one that I'm always thinking of. Like for
Hmm.
some reason, it's just always in my head when I think of her in this movie.
Kayla, is that why we both accidentally wore this color on this podcast episode?
Maybe. Hmm.
We're both wearing like maroon. Um, but she's just so pretty. And then I think I read that Jacqueline Duran used taffeta and silk, and it's not entirely period accurate. It has some 1950s couture elements to it, but I don't know. It's just beautiful and iconic. And Emerald Fennell, her one of her quotes is like, "Look, Anna's shadow has arrived before Anna." So like, yeah,
Yeah.
everyone's gossiping.
Yeah.
And then eventually after this scene, Anna gives in, at least in this version. She's like, "Okay, I'm gonna go with you now. Like, Vronsky, you won me over. I can't avoid you anymore." Um, and they kind of in the scene give in to their passion, so to speak, after after the scene, um, she becomes his mistress. Yeah. But this is also after Karenin kind of confronts her, like, everyone was talking about you, but I'm not going to be jealous. That's insulting to you
Mm-hmm.
and degrading to me.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like she had tried to kind of like, she gave Karenin a little bit of a chance to maybe be passionate and like, I love you, but it's just not going to work.
Yeah, I think it's also though the job that he holds. He has to uphold some kind of like the way they present themselves. So I feel like because he's older, he's
Hmm.
probably doing this for a while. He's been in this type of like society. I don't know, like she needed to give him a little bit of grace.
Yeah.
Because I get it. Like it is, I'm sure boring and whatever. She loves the drama, obviously, but if you're part of like the government, politician, you do kind of have to
Yeah.
be viewed a certain way. Like you have everything in control in your household, you don't want to be out there fighting a young guy.
Yeah. There's not going to be a duel. He's basically
Hmm.
like, I'm not going to duel this guy. Like, yeah. Very good point. Okay, so we're still kind of Team Jude Law in this situation. I'm feeling, which is fine. All the while, Anna, she's having an affair with Vronsky. She becomes pregnant, and yet we haven't even really talked about her son, Seryoja, who is her. In this movie, I don't think it gives a lot of time to that, but in other versions and in the book, she loves her son. But I mean, you have to admit, Anna's willing to give up her son for her romantic love. What do you
Oh
think about
Yeah,
yeah.
that?
I mean,
definitely.
she justifies, leaving her son because she gives in into this passion, It's like, and I mean, again, it's like she's been without it for so long, so she gets it. At this point of her life, she's going to, which
Go
is
for
funny
it.
because her and her brother are somewhat similar in that they both, you know, just let go and indulge in the passion that they have for, random people.
Kayla, what do you think? Do you think that I mean, is that also kind of unrelatable? I mean, actually, none of us on this podcast have children, but you can imagine like that maternal love and then like giving him up for it's hard to relate to.
Yeah, it is hard to relate to. It's kind of like she got on a train and she made a decision and she could not get off that train.
Yeah,
Ooh.
wow.
The
It's a
metaphor, the train's a metaphor in this movie or
yeah.
story.
She's stuck on that train, the Vronsky train.
I mean, hey, we could always put in the perspective of would you leave Selena for some random guy? Would I leave my kitties for some random guy? I mean, we don't have children, but we do have pets that we love a lot.
Oh my gosh,
How
Kayla,
could you do that?
didn't I leave? I didn't I think I did leave Selena with my mom when I started dating my now husband. Like I did, she would watch Selena more. So maybe I am an Anna. No, I don't know.
Oh God, and he's Vronsky.
Definitely not. No, he's definitely more of a Karenin.
I think that's why I
Or
love him because he reminds me of my husband too.
yeah, maybe more logical and practical thinking, our husbands. But so like I know Kayla, our mother, she would be like, no, she would choose the son over the lover, our mom.
Oh yeah.
And I think some people probably would too, but also we have to think of the context, the setting, like back in back in this era, women weren't supposed to even, sometimes nurse their own kids. They were supposed to hand them off to the midwife, not the midwife, the nurse. You know what I'm trying to say.
Nursemaid.
The nursemaid.
Yeah, there you go.
There we go. And not even have as much of an active role in their upbringing. Like they had
Oh
tutors
yeah.
and
Especially like well-to-do people back then. I feel like they were very disconnected to their children, so
yeah.
it's probably easy for her.
So yeah, I think she does have a lot of love for him, and in some of the versions you see that relationship even more, like the Greta Garbo and the Vivian Lee version. It's like these cute little boys. This one in this scene in this version, they kind of he doesn't have a lot of speaking parts.
Mm-mm, no.
He's just in that bed on the stage, and it's like, why is his room on the stage? Like, kind of cold. And it doesn't even make sense with his whole like reason for doing that because that's like her private life with her son. So like why would he be on the stage? Like, like it doesn't make any sense.
I mean, you're right,
Yeah,
actually.
you're
If
right.
they could have done that kind of like Levin, put him in an actual like, setting, it would put that contrast,
Like
Yeah.
it should have been only Anna
Yeah.
and what's his name? The guy she was hooking up with. It should have just been them on the stage.
Yeah, no, that's a good one.
You're
You're
so
right.
right. Like every time it's like they're in the opera
Hmm.
settings, the public view.
That's a
Okay,
stage, yeah.
so the horse racing scene even is in a cramped stage. Like
Yeah.
what the heck? That's an out. That should be. Oh.
Yeah.
Budget
Anyways,
cut.
budget cuts. Maybe Kayla is right. So this horse racing scene. First off, this is another thing, just like boxing scenes and period dramas. I don't want to see horses falling and dying. Like, I hate horse racing. It's always so sad. But I guess, okay, back to the real story. So Vronsky's racing in it, and her husband is like really
Right. Yeah.
watching her. Yeah. She, like, no doubt about it after this scene that they're having an affair because Vronsky and the horse fall, frou frou. And she just jumps up and she's just like anguished and just like crying out. And yeah, she does not know how to keep a poker face.
No, it's especially because like Kiernan is like trying to say, I'm right here, I'm right here, let's go. Like he's still trying to play the part of like trying to keep his cool, make it seem like everything's fine at home, this isn't your gossip isn't real. And she is just so yeah, she can't control it.
No, she makes such a scene. I do love this outfit also. She's got like a navy outfit and then like this like pink hat. I mean, the costuming. We do not hate the costuming. She starts to act very jealous and she has dreams of dying in childbirth. And she's like, I'll be glad to die before you start to hate me. So she's kind of acting a little erratic, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
no, for sure, because she becomes paranoid. Because
Mm-hmm.
she knows his mom doesn't approve of
Mm,
them together and of her. So she knows that his mom is trying to, pair him up with Cara Devon. I can't.
Delavigne.
Yeah, there you go. Her character. She's young and she's, rich as well. So yeah, she
Mm-hmm.
starts getting paranoid about it.
Yeah, and I mean, mental health obviously was not a thing back then.
Yeah.
So Anna really she needs some R&R. She's pregnant, she's stressed, her love life is crazy, her husband, I mean, not to downplay like anything that she's going through, but she is acting paranoid and not getting the help she needs. So yeah, her kind of premonition comes true where she is kind of dying when she's
Hmm.
having the baby. And this is a scene where Karenin, the husband, forgives Anna and Vronsky. So
Hmm.
here's our good husband. He's being very patient and understanding, and he actually forgives them all.
Yeah, and I think I mean, even before all this, even when she's pregnant, he says the only thing he asks is don't see him again.
Mm,
And everything is forgiven, and she can just go back to their life and everything. And she still, you know, just continues seeing Vronsky. And
right.
here, yeah, in the movie, it's such a weird scene because she's like in the middle, she's like dying, she makes them like hold hands.
Hmm.
I'm like, oh my God, this girl's extra.
Yeah.
She is pretty dramatic. But yeah, like that's the whole thing is women, they say this a lot. Women were having affairs all the time at this time. It's just that she went to the extreme. She and Vronsky went to the
Hmm.
extreme. So even Vronsky's mom says a little affair with a married woman is a fitting touch to a young man's education. So even the mom, who by the
Hmm.
way was a bit of a lover girl in her time, Vronsky's mom, she had affairs. She's saying like you just got to play by the rules, right?
Yeah.
And clearly she can't do that. She likes the drama, as you say. Oh, I love when she's like, "Please stop cracking your knuckles."
Oh my God. Yeah.
Did you know that in some of the versions, and I guess in the book, Vronsky like also tries to kill himself at this point?
Oh.
Hmm.
Mm.
I think it's the book. Maybe I'm getting mixed up, but I watched one of the miniseries lately, and so there's a lot of again mental health things going on here. throughout some of these scenes, we do cut to Levin in the fields, and he's, you know, you can tell he's upset about the Kitty thing. So every once in a while, we get a nice little Levin Kitty moment. So he goes back to Kitty, and this is my favorite scene, is the block scene bet
Yeah.
between Levin and Kitty. And they're so cute and shy and sweet, and they're playing with the blocks. And he spells out like some letters, like the first letter of each word of a phrase, and she's supposed to guess it. Kayla's laughing at this.
Well, I'm laughing because when we were watching the movie, Anna and I were kidding around because it looked like they were children playing with blocks.
Yes. And so DN, no, what was it? It was yeah, DNMN, did know mean never. And then she's like, then I did not know, but now. And she's like, "Can you forgive and forget?" So they're kind of talking in code with these blocks, but it's so cute. And
It's so
eventually,
sweet.
he's so cute. And then eventually, it's like he lifts it up, and it's like ILY, which we all know.
Mm.
We all know what that means. And in the 1977 version, instead of blocks, Kitty and Levin are writing on a chalkboard, and they're writing like letters the same kind of
Mm.
way. So I thought that was cute.
That is sweet. Yeah.
And then only that quick scene with them. Also in the older versions, we get a nice wedding scene with Kitty and Levin. I would have loved to see Alicia Vikander in a beautiful wedding, period drama wedding dress. Like,
Yeah, they definitely put them on the back burner because I mean, and I hate that because they're supposed to be the opposite of Anna and Vronsky. Like even in the book, Levin and Kitty do have go through a hardship in
yeah.
their marriage, you know, where it's hard for Levin, but the whole point is that he kept going, he persevered, and he like still didn't
Mm-hmm.
fall out of love with Kitty. And same with Kitty, and that's kind of the example of like how you have to keep it, you know, equal, unlike Anna and Vronsky, where everything is so like emotional and like
Yeah.
volatile and like they just can't keep it together.
Well, maybe that's why I'm just going back to the stage thing. Maybe that's why with the other couple, they were always, out in nature and stuff.
Hmm.
But then I guess Anna and her family and everything was always on the stage. Maybe that's
That's kind of
which,
Yeah.
what's yeah showing.
Yeah. No, you're right. I mean, there was definitely a purpose. And one of the times where I really liked it was when um, Jude Law's character he tears up a letter and he like throws it and then it like becomes snow.
Yes, I did love that, I will say.
So it's like some of it just needed to be executed differently, maybe. And
well, yeah. And so me and Anna, we watched the trailer after we watched the
ah,
movie, and we were like, "Wow, this is really good! Like this is like better than the movie.
It's better
Like the way it
paced.
flowed and everything.
Yes. Yeah.
It just made it
ah,
helps you understand what was going on more.
Yeah, I think the trailer actually like explained the story more than the movie itself.
Yeah.
really?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, it was an attempt, and some of it works. I mean, the costumes are unforgettable, really, especially the red gown. But yeah, very interesting. So we're at a point where Anne and Vronsky, they kind of go away for a little while. She's like, it's all about like, are they going to get a divorce? No, they're not going to get a divorce because then she can't have her son, but then she still doesn't get her son. She sneaks back to see him on his birthday. Very sad. She goes to the opera, and Vronsky's like, you shouldn't go to the opera. You're just going to be upset.
Hmm.
And she goes anyways. Everyone snubs her. Shirley Henderson is there, moaning Myrtle, saying like, she has a nerve flaunting herself like a slut in society.
I think because her husband talks to her, right?
Yeah. And there's like so many different no, never mind. Scratch that. But yeah. And she looks beautiful again in this white gown, which is like it's like was she trying to be like I'm innocent, I'm pure and white.
Mm,
It just backfires and then she starts taking morphine.
yeah. Did you notice though in those scenes, like when she's out and about, how the men looked at her? The men kind of looked at her like, "Oh, can I get something from you?" Like in a sense, like
Mm.
it just everything did change, and yeah, and it's funny because the consequences between her and her brother are very different. Yeah, her
Ah,
brother, that it wasn't really thought of like, oh, well, yeah, he's having an affair, duh, you know? But again, I think it goes back to because she wasn't going by the rules. I mean, if you
mm-hmm.
want to be with Vronsky, just divorce him. I think that was the issue, was that she wasn't divorcing uh,
Yeah.
Karenin either, so she was having these both.
Yeah, it just didn't work out. And someone says, "Oh, I'd call on her if she only broke the law, but she broke the rules."
Yeah,
Mm.
exactly.
Yeah, so she starts really emotionally spiraling, and with good reason. She's kind of her life is just upended, and she knows that Cara Delevingne's getting pushed in his direction by the mom, Princess Sorokina, I think.
Yeah.
Um, I feel like there's a bit of a Moulin Rouge vibe in the scene where she's taking morphine. And then I did think about how in Moulin Rouge, there's a lot of like stage settings, but it's a musical about putting on a show. So that made sense. Anyways, um, I always bring it back to Moulin Rouge. Where's Anna's baby at this point? Because she had a baby, and like every once in a while you hear a baby crying in the background, but it's like she could have spent time with her baby.
Yeah, no. I mean, and these scenes are very confusing because you're also questioning what's real and what's not because of the morphine.
Mm.
So you're going through like her being like in a haze, Vronsky coming in and saying pretty much he's leaving her, but then I don't think he like actually does. Like it's just you're trying to figure out what's
Mm.
real. You're kind of like in her shoes as well, like what's going on, you know?
Right.
So I will say this scene was a bit confusing because trying to figure out where this is going.
No, I'm with you. And I feel like she like takes some clothes off, but then in the next scene she's like wearing them again. Yeah, it's very
Yeah.
I'm with you. Um, so we know the end is near. If you know the story of Anna Karenina, once this is just starting to get bad, she's acting very jealous. She doesn't listen to Vronsky even when he's apologizing and trying to like comfort her, like, no, I love you. Like
Mhm.
we have this amazing love. Like you can't ask why about love is one of his lines. So um it's just bad. And then she looks down and that at that one point and sees Cara Delevingne like giggling and looking up at her.
Hmm.
And I don't think, I mean, that's either not real or she's exaggerating in her mind.
Yeah.
Yeah. So she thinks that Vronsky no longer loves her, that he's moved on to another. And she puts on her final dress. It's this pretty like maroon dress with this pillbox hat, flower, and veil. And she's going to the train station. In this version, we don't even know why. It's just in the other versions, it makes sense where she's going. But she goes to the train station. She's very sick, physically as well as emotionally, because she's grabbing her stomach at one point, I think. Like,
Yeah, I think all that morphine and yeah, I mean,
yikes.
you would think that she's not taking care of herself, eating. I don't think she's eating or anything. So yeah, she's destroying herself.
Yeah. And she's just totally distraught. And the train's coming. Also feel like a flashback at this moment would have been nice. Like maybe
Hmm.
her remembering when she and Vronsky met at the train station at first and everything was, loving. But anyways, we're getting emotional turmoil and we know what's going on, but I think it could have been done better. And then the train is like up in the rafters of the theater, right?
Yeah.
Kayla's shaking her head. And she jumps, which is what we expect if we know the story. If this is your first time with Anna Karenina, you're kind of like, wow, this is pretty emotional, but again, it's not a real train station scene, so it's kind of confusing. But she dies, and yeah, she ends her life. It's very tragic, very sad, um, that she thought that this was the way it had to be.
Yeah, I mean, she could have at least lived for her children, you know.
No, I know. She could have instead, if Vronsky doesn't love her anymore, go back to Seryoja and Jude Law.
Yeah. I mean, I think at that point he was like, no,
Yeah.
because he had tried so many times already. But
Yeah, maybe she
Mm,
just felt like she didn't have anyone left, or
yeah,
yeah.
she
You
definitely
know,
burned all her bridges at that point.
yeah. It's very sad and suicide is not one something we should take lightly, but of course we're just, relaying our feelings about it in this particular story. And she felt like she could, yeah, turn to no one and it's very sad. very sad. And so with this one, um, we do get at least a couple more scenes of Levin and Kitty, whether it's Kitty tending to Levin's sick brother, which is nice. I also love that scene where he sees her in the carriage and she's like
Mhm.
her head's out of the window
Yeah.
and the ribbons. We didn't even talk about that. That's so pretty. But exactly, the difficulties of marriage, as you said, Anna, Levin and Kitty in other versions and in the book, they do go through some more stressful moments and fight a little bit, but they persevere. And and we know that they're going to have kind of a happily ever after, right?
And I
And
guess
then
we do see that in this movie when she's caring for his brother because
mhm,
he's like staring at her. And I think that's when he's like realizing, oh, this is it. Like, this is what, you know, I want and what I love and all of that. So it's very, very like faint. It doesn't really go into it, but I think when you know the characters, it's like, okay, I think this is the part where they persevere.
mhm, mhm. Yes, I know. It's almost like we need a spin-off.
Yeah.
Kitty and Levin. I love the actors in this for those roles. And then the final scene of this movie, we see Jude Law as Alexei Karenin, and he has the young girl, Anna's daughter,
Mhm.
not by him, and Seryoja. So they're siblings now. Seryoja has a sibling, and they're playing in the field. He's
Mhm.
reading, so he's still very true to his character because he's just sitting there. He's not playing with them. He's
Mhm.
still reading, but there's love there, I think.
It's a very touching scene, and I think that's why Kayla and I are like, why? Why would you? Because yes,
Yeah.
it's Jude Law, but he also takes care of her daughter. Like,
What's
where's
his
Vronsky in this?
yeah, what's his name in this movie again? The Jude
Oh,
Law.
Karenin, Alexei Karenin.
Mhm.
Karen Alexi?
So Anna Karenina, right? Her last name is like Karenin, but in
It's like the
Russian,
female.
female masculine version. So a lot of people call him Karenin. That's his last name.
This is his full name.
Alexei Karenin.
That should be the name of the movie. Alexei.
That's okay. Let's get that. Okay. So no Anna Karenina, Alexei Karenin.
Be Alexei Kiernan.
Well, we've done it, guys. We've got to the end of 2012, Anna Karenina. Throughout this story, I've been kind of mentioning some of the other versions, and I just want to touch on that a little bit. Give you guys the scoop here. So, um, Greta Garbo and um, who who is the actor? Friedrich March played Anna Karenina in 1935. So
Oh, wow.
this has a 7.0. It's
Mm.
very well rated. Um, Honestly, Greta Garbo is so wonderful. Basil Rathbone plays the husband. The ending is very powerful. You could actually just find the ending of the Greta Garbo version on YouTube. Um, and it's just very intense, like the clanging of the wheel tapper guy that's kind of recalling her bad omens and her bad moments. And when you see her and her life, it's very emotional. It's very powerful.
I do wish they did that with this version. Like, make it more haunting because in
Yeah.
the beginning, you see that Anna's really affected by what happened to that worker, and like almost like you just said, it's like an omen. So they
Yeah.
could have made it more haunting, more everything
Yeah.
else in this movie is overwhelming. Like, make that one scene a little bit more chaotic.
No, so true. So true. Because this is the scene that we're all waiting
Yeah.
for here. And then the Vivian Leigh version in 1948. So our Gone with the Wind, Scarlett O'Hara. I think of her as like period, her and Greta Garbo as like period drama queens from back then. Because, yeah, they're always in those. And I just think it's a really beautifully done version, and the costumes are great by Cecil Beaton. Um, yeah, so definitely recommend those. Again, the 1977 miniseries version. I think you'd like it, Anna. Um, it's just you get the whole story. You get a lot of Levin and
Yeah.
Kitty. You get the background of, Dolly and Kitty's parents, and it's good.
I'll definitely have to try that one because I
Yeah.
do like these movies as like series because they take their time.
Yeah.
But I will have to try the Vivian Lee one because I feel like Vivian Lee in real life was very much Anna, very
Oh, yeah.
dramatic, very into like passion. You know, if you hear anything about her and Laurence Olivier, they were always arguing, always angry, or but then loved each other like fiercely. So I feel like she's very Anna.
They both were married, actually, I think, when they
hmm
fell in love.
And they still called on each other. When she was dying, she wanted him by
Hmm.
her side. Like, it's just, yeah, very passionate still.
And then one more. Oh, yeah, the 2013 version miniseries. It's kind of more international actors. And both the 2013 and the 1977 are available on Amazon Prime for free.
Ooh, okay, good to know. I'll have to try
So,
that.
all right. Thank you all for joining us for our conversation today on Tolstoy's Anna Karenina, with a special focus on the 2012 film adaptation by Joe Wright, starring Keira Knightley. It was the first episode of season 4 of Swoon-Worthy, and we hope that you continue to listen to us. We hope that you subscribe to us wherever you listen to podcasts, whether it's Spotify, Amazon, Apple, iHeartRadio, or YouTube. Please also join us on Instagram at Swoonworthy Podcast for the latest updates, fun polls, exciting reels, and more period drama conversations. Thanks again, and we'll catch you next time.